He's Just Not That Into You by Greg Behrendt and Liz Tuccillo. Picture this. You're a fly on the wall in the writer's room of Sex and the City, surrounded by some of the wittiest, most successful women in television. They're hunched over coffee cups, dissecting the eternal mystery. Why is he acting so weird? One writer launches into her latest romantic saga. There's this guy, and, well, he's sending signals that would confuse a NASA engineer. He said he'd call, but didn't. He seemed super interested last week, but now. Radio silence. Immediately, the room erupts with theories, each more reassuring than the last. Oh, honey, you're probably just intimidating him. He's clearly terrified of how amazing you are. Give him time. He's never met anyone like you before. It's the same conversation happening in coffee shops and living rooms everywhere, where friends become expert spin doctors, turning every crumb of attention into proof of hidden devotion. But then a male voice cuts through the chatter. Greg Behrendt, a consultant on the show, has been listening quietly. He takes a breath and delivers 6 words that land like a bomb. Listen, he's just not that into you. The room goes silent. You could hear a pin drop. It's one of those moments where a simple truth hits so hard that it actually hurts a little. Here were these brilliant, experienced women who had collectively spent decades navigating the dating world, and somehow this brutally obvious explanation had never been spoken out loud. That single sentence would eventually become a cultural earthquake, spawning a best-selling book, a Hollywood movie, and changing how millions of people think about relationships. Greg Behrendt and Liz Tuccillo didn't just write a dating manual. They handed us something far more valuable. A flashlight in a dark room, illuminating what was always there but we were too afraid to look at directly. Today we're going to explore that light, and fair warning, once you see what it reveals, you can't unsee it. This isn't about memorizing rules or playing games. It's about understanding one fundamental truth that will save you countless sleepless nights and years of your precious life. Let's start with the foundation, the bedrock of everything we're about to discuss. Men are not complicated. I know. That sounds almost offensive, right? We've spent our entire lives being told that men are these enigmatic creatures, burdened with deep psychological wounds and intricate emotional landscapes. We craft elaborate theories about their behavior. He's swamped at work. He's still healing from his ex. He doesn't want to risk the friendship. He's intimidated by successful women like you. These stories are comfortable blankets we wrap ourselves in when the truth feels too cold. They let us keep hoping, keep trying, keep believing that if we just decode the puzzle correctly, everything will make sense. But here's what Behrendt and Tuccillo want you to know. Those stories are destroying your peace of mind and, worse, keeping you stuck with people who don't deserve you. The book's central message is delightfully simple. There are no mixed messages. There's only clear communication and the elaborate fiction we create to avoid accepting it. When a man is genuinely into you, his actions will be so clear, so consistent, so obvious that you won't need a team of advisors to interpret them. You won't lie awake wondering what he meant. You won't be doing all the heavy lifting. Because men, according to Greg, operate on a pretty straightforward principle. They go after what they want. And if he wants you, trust me, you'll know. So let's dive into where the confusion usually starts. The chase. You meet someone interesting. Maybe you've been friends forever, and suddenly there's this spark. He flirts, compliments you. The whole evening feels charged with possibility. You float home on a cloud of excitement. And then, crickets. Days pass. Weeks pass. You start thinking, maybe I should reach out. Maybe he's just nervous about complicating our friendship. The book slams on the brakes right here. The whole "I don't want to ruin the friendship" excuse. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book. It sounds noble and thoughtful, but here's the reality. A man who's genuinely attracted to you won't let friendship stand in his way. He's not worried about ruining the friendship. He's worried about disrupting a comfortable situation where he gets your attention without any real commitment. What about the intimidation excuse? You're smart, accomplished, gorgeous. Maybe you're just too much for him to handle. The book basically laughs at this one. Men aren't intimidated by successful women. They're drawn to them like moths to a flame. Sure, he might appreciate a warm smile or a clear signal that you're receptive, but he shouldn't need you to do his job for him. As the authors put it, you can lead the horse to water, but you shouldn't have to help him ask for a drink. This brings us to advice that might make some people's blood boil. Let him pursue you. Before you throw something at me, hear me out. This isn't about playing 1950s housewife or pretending to be helpless. It's about understanding basic human psychology. Most men are wired to enjoy the chase. They feel accomplished by the pursuit. When you're doing all the calling, all the planning, all the initiating, it usually means you're way more invested than he is. And the reason is almost always because, you guessed it, he's just not that into you. This can be maddening for independent, goal-oriented women who are used to making things happen. Liz Tuccillo addresses this head-on in the book. She gets it. You're told to be proactive in your career, to chase your dreams, to make your own destiny. But in dating, you're supposed to just wait? It feels regressive and powerless. But here's the perspective shift the book offers. You're not powerless when you stop chasing. You're actually taking control. When you let men pursue you, you're in the position of power because you get to choose. Your job isn't to hunt down love, it's to build an incredible life. A life so fulfilling that you're not desperately waiting by the phone. Because the right man will find his way into that beautiful life you've created. He'll track down your number. He'll show up. The book tells a story about a guy who met a woman on an aircraft carrier and somehow managed to find her in the army. When a man wants you, he becomes remarkably resourceful. Okay, so let's say he does call. You go out a few times, things seem promising. But then a new pattern emerges. The calls become sporadic. He says he'll call over the weekend, but you don't hear from him until Wednesday. You keep hearing one word on repeat: busy. Work is insane right now. I've got so much on my plate. The book calls busy the relationship's weapon of mass destruction. It sounds legitimate, reasonable even, but it's almost always nonsense. Think about it. We live in an age where you can call someone while literally doing anything else. The author jokes that his phone calls people accidentally from his pocket. The truth? If a man is into you, talking to you isn't a chore, it's the highlight of his day. A call to you isn't another task to check off. It's a break from all the other tasks. Men are never too busy to pursue what they want. If he's not calling, it's because you're not occupying space in his mind. Accepting this simple fact will save you from the torture of staring at your silent phone, trying to will it to ring. This principle extends beyond phone calls to dating itself. The book draws a crucial line between hanging out and dating. Hanging out is vague and non-committal. It's meeting at a bar where his friends happen to be. It's a last-minute text asking if you're around. Dating is intentional and focused. It involves actual planning, one-on-one time, and a clear message of, I want to spend time with you, specifically you and only you. Men who prefer to hang out are usually avoiding the accountability that comes with real dating. They want the perks, your company, your affection, maybe intimacy, without having to be responsible for your feelings. This is especially true with the guy who claims he just got out of a relationship and, quote, can't handle any expectations right now. This is such a common trap. He tells you he's not ready for anything serious, but then he continues to spend time with you, sleep with you, and basically act like your boyfriend. You might think his actions speak louder than his words, but the book urges you, in this one case, believe his words. When a man says, I don't want to be in a relationship, what he actually means is, I don't want to be in a relationship with you. He's being honest. Thinking you can change his mind is setting yourself up for heartbreak. A man who's truly into you will want to lock you down because he won't want to risk losing you to someone else. And now we venture into one of the most sensitive areas, physical intimacy. Let's be direct. When a man is attracted to you, he wants to be physical with you, period. If he's not trying to kiss you, not trying to touch you, not trying to get you into bed, it's not because he's scared, traumatized, or exhausted. It's because he's not physically attracted to you. You might have incredible dates, hours of conversation, dancing until dawn. He tells you you're amazing, how much he values having you in his life. But he never makes a move. The book says he might as well be signing your yearbook. He loves you as a friend. If he were romantically interested, wild horses couldn't keep him from trying to kiss you. But what about the flip side? You've been dating for a month. The physical connection was great. And then suddenly, it just stops. You're still staying over, but now it's just cuddling and sleeping. It's confusing and, honestly, a bit humiliating. You might think his feelings are getting so intense that he's pulling back out of fear. The book shuts this theory down fast. 1 month into dating should be peak passion territory. If he's withdrawing physically this early, the reason is almost always straightforward. He's just not that into you. This is not the moment to buy into the fear of intimacy myth. The authors argue that when a man is truly into you, no fear will keep him away. He'll go to therapy, work through his issues, but he won't leave you confused and wondering why he doesn't want to touch you. Now we need to talk about the really serious stuff, the absolute deal breakers. First up, cheating. The book doesn't mince words here. There is never, ever a good excuse for cheating. It doesn't matter if you gained weight, if your sex life hit a rough patch, or if he was drunk. Cheating isn't an accident. It doesn't just happen. It's a deliberate choice to betray your trust. A man who cheats on you isn't just someone who's not that into you. He's someone who doesn't even respect you. Don't share the blame. Don't ask what you did wrong. The only mistake you made was choosing someone capable of that level of disrespect. Next, the man who only connects with you when he's drunk or high. You might think alcohol lowers his inhibitions and lets his true feelings out. When he's drunk, he's so affectionate, telling you how much you mean to him. But the book offers a harsh truth. You cannot believe anything a man says when he's drunk. Those alcohol-fueled declarations of love are meaningless. If he can only connect with you when his judgment is impaired, he's not really connecting with you at all. He's using you and the substance to escape reality. You deserve someone who wants to be with you in the clear, sober light of day. And then there's the man who's just a jerk. Maybe he's selfish, never helps around the house. Maybe he belittles you in front of friends, or constantly criticizes your appearance. Or maybe he's just weird, like refusing to sleep in the same bed after sex. When faced with this kind of behavior, the book says stop trying to figure him out. Forget his good qualities, his bad qualities, his childhood trauma. Ask yourself one simple question. Is he making me happy? Not occasionally, not when everything's going his way. Through his daily actions, does he show you that your happiness matters to him? If the answer is no, then it doesn't matter whether he loves you, he's terrible at it. And the result is the same as if he weren't into you at all. This brings us to the final frontier of dating pain, breakups and disappearances. When a man breaks up with you, it's over. Seems obvious, right? But we resist this reality with impressive creativity. He breaks up with you, but keeps calling to check in, to see how you're doing, to chat about your day. You think, he must miss me. Maybe he's realizing he made a mistake. But the book warns, don't be flattered. Of course he misses you. You're wonderful. But he's still the person who decided he didn't want to be with you. Every day, he's actively choosing not to be with you. These calls aren't about winning you back. They're about soothing his own loneliness and guilt. He's using you as an emotional cushion. The only call that matters is the one where he says, I made a huge mistake, and I want you back. Anything else is just noise. And please, the book begs you, avoid breakup sex. It might feel passionate and emotionally charged in the moment, but it only muddies the waters and deepens your pain. There's a reason it's called breakup sex, and not the sex was so good we got back together and lived happily ever after sex. But perhaps the most painful experience is when he simply vanishes. No explanation, no goodbye, just gone. This is where you might construct the most elaborate explanations. Maybe he's in the hospital. Maybe he got hit by a bus. The book gently suggests that while these things are theoretically possible, it's far more likely that he just didn't have the courage to tell you he wasn't interested. When this happens, you'll desperately crave closure. You'll want to call him, confront him, demand answers. But the book says this is throwing good energy after bad. His silence is your answer. He's shown you, in the most cowardly way imaginable, exactly who he is. The best revenge isn't anger or confrontation. It's moving forward with your life so completely that he becomes an insignificant footnote. Your closure doesn't come from him. It comes from you, when you decide you're too valuable to waste another second on someone who couldn't even say goodbye. All of this philosophy distills down to one final, empowering concept. Stop thinking of yourself as the exception to the rule. We all love those romantic stories. The woman who chased a man for years and finally won him over. The couple who broke up 17 times before finally getting married. The woman who waited for a married man to leave his wife, and they rode off into the sunset together. These stories give us hope, make us believe that love conquers all. But the authors warn that these stories are dangerous. They're the exceptions. For every one of those fairy tales, there are thousands of women who wasted years on men who were never going to come around. Consider yourself the rule, not the exception. The rule is, if a man treats you like he doesn't care, he genuinely doesn't care. The rule is, men who are into you will pursue you, call you, date you, and commit to you. You are an exceptional person, absolutely. But you're not the exception to these basic rules of human behavior. Embracing this isn't cynical or pessimistic. It's an act of radical self-respect. It's the moment you stop crafting excuses for his behavior and start setting standards for your own life. It's when you stop wasting your precious time and energy, and you realize that those 6 little words, "he's just not that into you," aren't a rejection at all. They're a liberation. They're your permission slip to stop waiting, stop analyzing, stop wondering, and go find someone who is, without any doubt or confusion, completely and totally into you. Here's what this book is really about. Underneath all the dating advice, self-worth. Its revolutionary power doesn't come from cracking some secret male code. It comes from holding up a mirror and asking a question so simple it's uncomfortable. Why are you accepting so little? For years, dating advice was this complicated maze of strategies and mind games. It was all about learning to play hard to get, being more mysterious, saying the perfect thing at the perfect moment. The burden was always on women to analyze, adapt, and decode. Then this book came along and just swept all that garbage off the table. It said, stop working so hard, stop being the relationship detective. The right person won't require you to have a PhD in behavioral psychology. Their interest will be crystal clear. What's truly transformative about this approach is how it shifts your focus from, how can I make him like me, to, does his behavior meet my standards? It seems like a small distinction, but it's actually life-altering. It's the difference between begging for validation and knowing your inherent worth. It reminds us that our time, energy, and hearts are precious and finite. They shouldn't be handed over to people who leave us feeling anxious, confused, or somehow less than. So how do you actually start living this philosophy today? Here are some concrete steps. First, the next time you find yourself spiraling about someone's intentions, try this experiment. For just 24 hours, completely ignore what he says and look only at what he does. What are his actual actions? Did he call when he said he would? Did he make concrete plans to see you? Did he prioritize you in any measurable way? Actions don't lie or have hidden meanings. They are the unfiltered truth. Let them be your compass. Second, establish one non-negotiable standard for yourself. Maybe it's, I will not be with someone who makes me feel sexually undesirable. Or, I won't get in a car with someone who hasn't properly asked me on a date. Write it down somewhere you'll see it. Commit to it like a promise to yourself. This isn't about building walls around your heart. It's about laying a foundation of self-respect that nothing can shake. And finally, become the friend who tells the truth with love. The next time a friend comes to you, agonizing over some guy's mixed messages, don't just offer the easy comfort of creative excuses. Gently, kindly, Help her see what's actually happening. By helping her reclaim her power, you'll reinforce your own. That was a summary of He's Just Not That Into You by Greg Behrendt and Liz Tuccillo. We've covered the main ideas today, but honestly, a summary is like looking at a photo of the ocean. It gives you the general idea, but it can't replace actually standing on the beach and feeling the waves. The real magic of this book is in the witty, compassionate voice, the stories that make you laugh and cringe because they hit so close to home. This summary is a map to help you decide if the full journey is worth taking. If anything we've talked about today resonated with you, I really encourage you to read the actual book. It's not just about learning concepts. It's about experiencing a shift in how you see yourself and your relationships. If you found value in our time together today, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps ensure you won't miss our next exploration of another transformative book. Let's keep learning and growing together.